What's good, y'all? It's your boy Sean Peter Blunt guy. Hey, and I am excited today because today we will be reacting to One Piece chapter 1062, and the title of this chapter is Adventure in the Land of Science. Okay, but before we get into that, make sure you guys hit that like button. Also, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Comment down below your thoughts of the chapter, your thoughts on the reaction. Also, make sure you follow me on Twitch so you could be a part of the stream. You could, catch me live, and you can also engage with me in real time. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And make sure you join the community and come be a part of the Discord. Come engage with me in the Discord. It's the best place to send me content to react to. All of these will be in the description box below. But yeah, y'all. Oh, we in the next chapter. We are chapter 1062. Last chapter we got introduced to quote unquote Dr. Vegapunk. And I say quote unquote Dr. Vegapunk because we're not for certain. A lot of people don't believe that is the real Vegapunk, right? I don't believe that that's the real Vegapunk. And a lot of people, will say, oh, Vegapunk being a woman. Some people are disappointed because they, assume Vegapunk would be a man and Vegapunk is a woman, based on last chapter. That's not why I don't believe that's not Vegapunk, right? I'm okay with the idea of Vegapunk being a woman, even though I don't believe that is Vegapunk, and I do believe Vegapunk to be a man. A lot of it is because it was implied that Vegapunk was an old man, right? There's few instances where people called Vegapunk an old man and all that stuff, but the main reason, or the main thing that stuck out to me, why I don't believe the woman that we seen was the real Vegapunk is because when we see all these little Vegapunk inventions, all of them have numbers, right? We seen the shark. It was, I think it said Punk 03 or something like that. I think 03 or 04. 03. I want to say the big cyborg was, I think it just said Vega Force. I don't think it said Punk had a number in Punk or whatever. But then when we seen the girl, one, she's young as well. I would think Vegapunk is much older at the very least. But when we seen the girl on her shirt, it said Punk 02, right? So that to me, that's kind of, it shows, like, especially if you watch a lot of science type stuff where they have like a lot of inventions and they have numbers on it, it shows that it's not the original Vegapunk. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a copy or a cyborg or something. So yes, a lot of people don't believe that's Vegapunk. I don't believe it's Vegapunk. And it's not because I don't want Vegapunk to be a woman or anything. I do believe Vegapunk is most likely a man. Don't get me wrong. But even if I'm wrong about that, even if, let's say, we find the real Vegapunk and it is indeed a woman, I wouldn't be upset or disappointed in that. I just don't believe the woman that we seen is the real Vegapunk. That's just my thoughts though. But yeah, so anyway, I just kind of wanted to talk about that a little bit. I just want to talk about that because now we're in the next arc. We're in Egghead Island, and we're about to learn more about Vegapunk, and we're about to learn more about some other stuff potentially. And based on the title, it's about to be an adventure, so I'm excited. I thought the chapter would have came out yesterday, but I guess it did later, but I thought it would come out earlier. So, it came out later that day or later yesterday. So we're here today to react to it. I didn't want to react to it on a Friday, but it is what it is. Anyway, let's get into the chapter. Chapter 1062, Adventure in the Land of Science. So, we see it says German 66 Cold Blooded Voyage Volume 20. Meanwhile, in Chocolate Town on Coca Island. And we see somebody say, "Do nut," and then it just cuts off, right? And then we see all these people. It looked like they're like either frozen or petrified or something, or even kind of like Mr. Three's Devil Fruit, like turned into wax or something. But these people are like frozen, solid in either ice, some type of cement, or or uh or stone. Right, that said cement. So cement or wax, you know, or clay or something. So I don't really know what happened to these people. We're still in Totland, right? I thought low key, I kind of thought when I looked up and I seen that big old ball, it kind of reminded me of last chapter. So like the building with the ballish looking building, it reminded me of last chapter. So I thought we was in Egghead Island for some reason, but no, we're still in Totland, and I don't really know what's going on in Totland right now. But something happened. Something happened to the people of Chocolate Town. Yeah, I don't know. Hopefully we figure that out. Hopefully that is revealed next chapter. Maybe somebody's invading Big Mom's territory. I don't know if this is Germa's work, and I don't know what Big Mom child could have done this. So yeah, maybe this is somebody different. And this is an invasion on Big Mom's territory. But we will probably find out next chapter. Let me know your thoughts on what is going on. All right. Next page. So, Straw Hat say Vegapunk. The Vegapunk? What a freakus. I think that's Vegapunk speaking right there. What a fracas. What a fracas. And then we see it says a bewildering development. So we got the Vegapunk big cyborg thing carrying the Straw Hat ship, and they're in the middle of the ocean. Vegapunk does have them captured, and Franky says, "Vegapunk, you're like my role model. I killed 2 years in your hometown, Baltimore. After going through your lab, there was still a load of stuff I didn't get a chance to look into." Dang. So as long as Franky was there and as much as he learned, there's still a lot of stuff that Franky missed or just couldn't get to, right? So that just tells you how deep Vegapunk's science is. And then Franky says, "It's the giant mech of my dreams." And then I think Usopp saying, "Just how many times bigger than General Franky is that? I can't wait to show Luffy and Chopper." And then Sanji, Sanji lusting. He says, "What a stunning lady." And then we see Vegapunk in the big cyborg or the big android or whatever, the big robot, right? And then we see Robin. Robin says, "Just a moment. This is the first I've heard of Vegapunk being a woman. And she looks far too young. Vegapunk has been active for many years." So we not tripping. The community is not tripping, right? Even Robin doesn't believe this. Like Robin's like, whoa. Vegapunk a woman? I never heard of that. I was, most likely she was led to believe Vegapunk was a man. And then not only that, just like I said, she said Vegapunk is far too young, you know, or she is far too young. Vegapunk has been active way longer than how young this woman at least looks, right? By the look of this woman, Vegapunk much older. You know what I'm saying? And I would think that as well. You know, I would think that as well. Hey, even Robin put saying 1+1 is not adding up, right? So even Robin doesn't believe it. So at least in the story, there's somebody to kind of acknowledge that, right? There's somebody kind of acknowledge a lot of the doubts that a lot of the community has. Man, Oda know what he doing, man. Oda know what he doing. And Vegapunk says, naturally, who said this was the main Stella body? You're looking at Punk 02 Vegapunk Lilith. Bam. It was dropped. It was the mystery. The mystery does not have is solved. The mystery is solved. We don't have to play this no longer, or we don't have to guess and theorize and speculate no longer. It's been solved by Vegapunk, him or herself. We don't even know what Vegapunk said. But he says, naturally, who said this was the main Stella body? You're looking at Punk 02 Vegapunk Lilith. In any case, we always run through our research funds in a jiffy. So we'll allow you to skedaddle if you just relinquish your valuables. So this is he said this was the main Stella body. Or who said this was the main Stella body? The main Stella body. The main Stella body. So there is a main body, right? But specifically the main Stella body. Okay. And then the Punk 02 says, you're looking at Punk 02 Vegapunk Lilith. That's the name of this Vegapunk series, Vegapunk Lilith. It's not the main Stella body though. Stella though, that still sounds like a woman name. So is the main Stella body still a woman? I don't know. That's, man. So Nami says, what? These waters are chilly enough without you being cold too. You just fished us out. What kind of rescue do you call this? And then Vegapunk says, are you deaf? This is not a rescue. Trespassing on these waters is nigh impossible. Resist and they will sink you without question. So we see some creatures in the depths of the ocean. Right? I wonder how the robot is standing afloat on top of the water, you know, because it's obviously not standing on like a bottom, you know, because we see these creatures looking up from like the depths, and you know where the robot and the ship is. So I wonder how it stands. I mean, I guess, you know, technology, so you know, makes sense. All right, so we see all these creatures come up to the surface, finally on the surface. And Vegapunk says, take a gander at the weaponized sea beast. So, okay. So that shark that we seen earlier was most likely weaponized, and it wasn't like a straight up, like all robot, right? Like these other sea beasts or sea kings are all mech'd out as well, right? We see and we see one with the number 15 on them, but all of them have like punk on them, right? All of them have like punk something on them, you know. And one of them look like a little pit bull, like a fish line kind of, and like a bull, and one look like a wolf. One look kind of like a cat, and one look like a giraffe, and then one look like a bear, I think. I think that's kind of a bear. And Straw Hat says, They just popped out. And then we we see like there's a sound there's somebody talking through Lilith's I guess like earpiece, and it says purr, or is it saying pere? I think it's making the snail the den mushi sound pere. It says, Lilith, what are you doing? Why do you always insist on looting? Have some pride as a scientist. Shaka, put a sock in it. Can your infernal pride keep the lights on? Shaka. So Lilith is talking to Shaka. Is Shaka the Stella body, the main Stella body, or is it like another clone of Vegapunk? Right? Like, I'm interested. But obviously, Shaka doesn't want Lilith doing what she's doing right now, like looting ships and stuff. So whoever this is might have saved the Straw Hats, it seems. You know, at least the ship, right? Because I don't doubt that the Straw Hats couldn't handle themselves in this situation. But it could cost the ship, seeing how their ship's not exactly in a good position at the moment, right? And Sanji, I don't know if Sanji would want to fight, or what. Like, let's say if Zoro tried to fight this Lilith body, if Sanji would have that, you know, Sanji probably wouldn't have that, and Sanji would end up fighting Zoro. So it had to leave Nami or Robin to have to fight this Lilith. On over the little Den Mushi or door earpiece, it says they're the Straw Hat Pirates, a newly dubbed Emperor crew, are not going to meekly surrender. And then Lilith says, precisely, that's they must have a heap of treasure stashed away. And she's giggling. So she just trying to get that money. And they said, even so, you've made a foolish blunder. And we all see Robin looking as they talk. And then Lilith says, blunder? I have them surrounded. And then Shaka says, don't underestimate them. Look at the swordsman. And then we see Lilith look. I'm assuming she's looking at Zoro, who's probably ready to pounce. I also missed some part. We got Franky. Now I missed a whole section of this panel. We got Franky saying weaponized sea beast. That's rad. And then Usopp says, yeah, but my fear is overwhelming my all. And they're looking at the bear looking sea beast. And Zoro's just like just waiting for something to pop off. And then even Brook and Nami are screaming in terror, Gaia! And then that's when Shaka says, blunder, I have them surrounded. Or Lilith says, blunder, I have them surrounded. And then Shaka says, don't underestimate them. Look at the swordsman. Yeah, I don't know how I missed that. I don't know how I missed that whole section of the page. So we see Zoro clutching him sword. He's ready to pounce. And Shaka says, that's pirate hunter Zoro. His bounty is 1.111 billion. See how calm he is? He knows you're in range for him to end you in an instant. The question is, would Sanji allow that to happen to Zoro? Would Sanji allow Zoro to do that? And then Shaka says, the same goes for Devil Child Nico Robin back there. But how is this Shaka character, right? How do they know, right? Like, how are they just kind of assuming, like, based on Zoro's personality, that, like, yes, Zoro and Robin are probably ready, you know, like they probably could understand behavior, right? So they know what Zoro and Robin would do and how they would be prepared in a situation like this, right? So is this more of a intuition thing this person is speaking of? the possible original Vegapunk, or is this or are they like watching through maybe Lilith's eyes have like or cameras and the feedback is being sent back to the lab and the original Vegapunk is watching through Lilith's eyes, or is this something similar to that, but like the original Vegapunk could see what Lilith is seeing as well, kind of like the Pain, right, from Naruto, how the Pain could use all these other eyes for different perspectives. I'm kind of curious how this Shaka character, be it the original Vegapunk or a different Vegapunk or just a different person in general, how they're able to know that Zoro and Robin are on alert and about to attack, right? So, curious. And then Lilith says, but what can they do against all the sea beasts? And then Shaka says, the strong can appraise their prey and prioritize the most essential targets first. You should have been more cautious. And then Lilith says, those imbeciles around them lulled me into a false sense of security. Confound it, I was careless. Now don't go blaming the other people. Don't go blaming Sanji, Frankie, and Usopp and them. That's your fault. You done messed with the wrong crew. I'm telling you. You done messed with the wrong crew. Zoro says, hey Vegapunk, there's something I want from you. So you'd better play nice, got it? Uh-oh. 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 And then we see Shaka. And it says Logic, Punk 01, Dr. Vegapunk, Shaka. And they have a kind of like a Daft Punk type of mask. If anybody's familiar with Daft Punk, it's like one of them type of mask, or kind of like Saiyaman from Dragon Ball Z. The great Saiyaman, Gohan's hero Alice's, his hero character. And then Shaka says, no matter, bring them here. I have an interest in that crew. So, Shaka is indeed a body of Vegapunk. It is 01 Vegapunk. So, this is either another clone, like maybe the original Vegapunk is 00, or this is the prime main body of Vegapunk. But it is 01, so it's at least a older model than the Lilith model, or higher up model at least, So I'm not sure if this is still the main body of Vegapunk, but it's 01, so it's before 02 at least, I don't know. And it says Logic, right? Logic, Punk, 01, Dr. Vegapunk, Shaka. And it says, as of this chapter, the old man's voice is only really evident with Lilith. So only Lilith has an old man voice. But Shaka, it says it's really evident. It didn't say it's not the case. It just said it's only really evident with Lilith. Okay. I'm not sure what that means, but okay. All right, so we cut back to the cave, and Luffy says, so you've been here before? And then, I don't know why I'm forgetting her name. Jory Bonnie says, yeah, when I was a kid, it was still a pretty run-of-the-mill lab at the time. So how come you came back? I'm assuming that's Luffy talking. And then they're climbing down like a ladder into the facility. And then Bonnie says, I'm here for answers. I'll have that bastard's life if I don't like what I hear. And they say, huh? And then Bonnie says, Vegapunk's the one who turned my dad into a cyborg. And then Luffy says, whoa, that's awesome. My dad. So all the theories about Kuma being Jory Bonnie's dad confirmed. Confirmed. Kuma. And I thought this. Look, I'm not the person who originally said that, right? I'm not the originator of that theory or speculation. I'm not somebody to take credit for anything. But I've always, I always believed that Kuma could potentially be Bonnie's dad. I always kind of believed that was a high possibility that Jory Bonnie's dad was Kuma. Just kind of how she she broke all the way. She broke into Mary Joa, right? A very dangerous place to just be breaking into, and and to save Kuma, right? To save Kuma, and then we also got the story with Akainu, how Akainu had Jory Bonnie captive, but somehow Jory Bonnie's still free, so he must have let her go. Why would Akainu let Jory Bonnie go? Because maybe she's the daughter of somebody important. A Shichibukai potentially. Somebody who actually works for the world government. You know, maybe Kuma joined the Shichibukai and became a cyborg in order to save his daughter. And I always thought maybe it was to save his country too, and that could be the case as well, but maybe more so to save his daughter. And now it's confirmed that Jory Bonnie is Kuma's daughter. Oh, bro, we getting bombs. We getting bombs. We getting bombs today. Jory Bonnie says it's not, he's completely lost his sense of self. So she's saying it's not cool, right? Because Luffy says that's awesome. And then Bonnie said he doesn't even know who he is anymore. And she's crying. He's nothing but a living weapon now. And then Jinbei's thinking in his head, that's awful. And he says, yeah, it's unforgivable. And I think Chopper says, sorry, Bogey. Or no, Luffy says, sorry, Luffy says, sorry, Bogey. And then she says, it's Bonnie. Yeah, Bonnie. So they were climbing up that ladder. They weren't climbing down the ladder. I thought they were climbing down. All right, so they finally made it up to the top of the facility, or top of that ladder. And then Chopper says, we made it to the surface. And we see Luffy running. And he says, let's track down some grub. Whoa. And he got those amazed looks. So we about to see some cool stuff, right? Some cool scientific stuff. And then Bonnie says, oh yeah, I forgot to mention that I ran into Sabo at Mary Joa. Oh, she's thinking this. Whatever, I can spill the beans later. Oh. I never even actually thought of it this way, right? Like we know Luffy, we know something happened with Luffy, right? And I forgot that Bonnie probably could potentially know what happened to Sabo and could be the one to tell Luffy what happened to Sabo. Oh boy. Oh boy. That's for another discussion right there. All right, so we see now we get a more clear view of Egghead Island, and it looks very futuristic. We got this big monster with like 4 eyes. It looks like a dragon. It has like horn looking ears almost. And then we got like, and it's facing in the direction of a big robot. You know, a big old robot. And then we see these bubble looking things. Look like there's like facilities in them. It looks super futuristic, right? Like a futuristic city. I wonder if people actually live in the city though, right? Like that's what I'm curious. If people actually live in the city, or if it's all Vegapunk, right? If only Vegapunk live here, and like people that work for him. All right, so Luffy says, "What is all this stuff? Is that a giant robot? There's all sorts of things up there, and a space monster." And then Luffy Luffy bum rushes these things, and Jinbei says, "What in the world?" And then Luffy says, "I'll be back after I take one for a ride." And then Bonnie says, "Hey, we're infiltrating this place, remember?" And then he says, "Gum gum." And then Chopper says, "Take care, Luffy." Yo, Bonnie don't know. Bonnie gonna learn. Bonnie about to learn today how it is traveling with Luffy. She is about to learn today. And you know something, you know what I just realized? Bonnie never actually told Luffy that her father is Kuma, right? So I wonder how that's going to be when Bonnie tells him, like, yeah, Kuma's my father, or when they learn that Kuma is Bonnie's father, and Bonnie learn about, like, possibly learn about the relationship with Kuma and the Straw Hats, right? Not really a relationship, but you know how they encountered Kuma, like her father Kuma, right? So, and how Kuma pretty much saved them, you know, because that might impact the dynamic of Bonnie and the Straw Hats, knowing that Kuma actually saved the Straw Hats twice. He spared them one time, and then he saved them the second time, you know. And plus, when Bonnie, I don't know if Bonnie knows that Kuma was a revolutionary. I'm pretty sure she might know that, or she might have a clue or something. I don't know. I don't know if Kuma like privy her into all that stuff. But when like like she learned who Luffy's father is and learn the relationship between her father and Luffy's father, which is wild, right? It's wild to now to know that Luffy and Bonnie have a deeper connection. You know how their fathers were pretty much associated with each other heavily. Like Kuma worked for Dragon. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a deeper connection with Jory, Bonnie, and Luffy now that we know of through their fathers, bro. Uh, so Luffy does his gum gum rocket at this alien looking dragon while the dragon is like blasting. Like, I don't know if the dragon is fighting that big robot, but he's like rocketing towards the dragon, and the dragon looks down at Luffy, and then the dragon says, "What?" And then he chomps at Luffy, I guess. He like eats Luffy. And then Chopper says, "Gaia, Luffy's been eaten." yo, yo, I'm not gonna lie though. I miss this stuff in One Piece. I miss the adventure. I miss Luffy just going out and seeing something and just going head first into it. You know, this is the stuff I miss. You know, the adventure. Good stuff. Good stuff. You gotta love it. You gotta love it. So it didn't eat Luffy. So it looked like Luffy went through the dragon or missed the dragon. So I'm guessing this might be like a projection. Yeah. I'm guessing this might be a projection, or it must be a projection, because Luffy seemed to have gone through the alien dragon looking thing. You know, either that or it missed eating Luffy, like chomping down Luffy. But Luffy says, "Hmm," and then Luffy hits like a pole, and he says, "What?" And then Jinbei, Jory, Bonnie, and Chopper all rush to Luffy, and Jinbei says, "You okay, Luffy?" And Luffy says, I thought I got swallowed, but." And Jory Bonnie says, "Whoa, is that a giant parfait?" And then we see like this big parfait with like, ice cream and all that stuff, fruit and all everything. And they said there's cookies and fruits too. Look at all that cream. And Luffy, Jory Bonnie, and Chopper all rushed to get a taste of this giant parfait. And it said, "Thanks for the meal." And then Jinbei says, "Hold it, guys. Why would they leave food lying around? This has to be a trap." Okay, so they all jump at this ice cream, and it looks like they go through the ice cream, right? And they all got this look of disappointment. Luffy, Bonnie, and Chopper. And Jinbei looking shocked, and he says, "What the?" And they say, "We went right through it. How can we see it but not touch it?" And Chopper tries to bite it. Chomp, chomp, chomp. "It's so cruel to make us hungry like that." Luffy says, "Oh crap, did we die earlier and I not notice?" And Jinbei says, "There's no way we're ghosts. I've never seen one before, but this parfait must be a hologram." And I know Luffy and Chopper seen ghosts before back in Thriller Bark. And then we see Luffy going like a Gear 4 Snake Man. It looked like a Gear 4, a pseudo Gear 4 mode. And he says, "What the hell? Or what the hell is that? This ticks me off, Luffy." Luffy pissed off, man. This man Luffy is pissed off. And Bonnie says, "It's a 3D image made of light. You see him in comics and science fiction stuff. It's just an image." Yeah, that's funny. Luffy going in like a pseudo Gear 4 mode. So Luffy says, "Oh, the space monster. That's why. That's why I went right through it. The giant robot," or Jinbei says, "the giant robot must be one too. No one can make something like that." And then Chopper says, "Oh, hey, what's these? Or hey, what's this? All these buttons have pictures of food on them." And then Jory Bonnie says, "Give it up already. Everything on this island's a sham." "That reminds me," says Jinbei, "weren't the seas around the island freezing? You'd expect this place to have a similar climate, but..." What does she mean a sham though? Like, is Dr. Vegapunk frauding? Is Dr. Vegapunk frauding out here? So we see this big, like, giant cyborg, like cyborg girl with like her hair is like half black and half white, I'm assuming. She says, "Actually, this is a winter island, but the environment is set to tropical mode in here." And Jinbei looks shocked, and they're all looking at her, and she says, "With my island aircon inventions, you can specify and regulate the temperature of an area right down to the soil. This one's as big as Kaido," says Luffy. And then Luffy says, "You're a hollow thing too, right?" Now we see it says Punk Zero something. I can't see the number on the cyborg, but it says Punk something. And then Luffy goes to punch it, and he says, "Ha!" And then he punches it, and it seemed like it probably clinked or whatever. He says, "Huh?" So it's actual physical. So he's shocked that's not a hologram. And then the cyborg punches the hell out of Luffy. Says, "Take this." Man, that must be a hockey infused cyborg or android or whatever. So we see Luffy get sent into like a a machine that says east, west, south, north, and he hits it, and it says, Luffy says, "I'm sorry," and it says beep 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 beep, and then he hits the machine, says clonk. It says drop, like the thing drops, and so we see it like making a whole burger. Like a burger is being made. It says phew, it says and then we see a thing of lettuce fall, and we see a meat patty and cheese fall on it, and then it says squish drop, and it says and then we see like a beverage fall. It says clunk, psh. And so we got like a whole burger combo, a whole fast food burger combo come out of this machine. And then Jory Bond says, "Huh? A hamburger meal?" And the drink came out. Who made it? And it says, "You can touch it." And we see Jory Bonnie grabbing the drink and the burger. And then Luffy says, "It's real." And then they're all eating, Chopper eating the fries. I guess they sharing the burger. And they says, "So good. Press the next one. Press the next one." And they're playing with this thing. It says steak amaris tonkatsu, cotton candy cake, ramen fried chicken, hot dogs. Well, at least you appreciate my work. That's the unmanned cooking device. I don't know what this thing is, but I'm assuming I'm gonna just call it until we learn, until we learn otherwise. I'm gonna call it a sideboard. And they say pizza, pasta, and she says it can turn raw ingredients into one of 500 unique dishes in under a minute. The make do with what you've got mode is the best, bruh. This thing might have to replace Sanji for real. If we being real, I mean, you can't replace Sanji though. You can't replace Sanji. But Sanji sees this thing. I wonder how he gonna feel. I hope Sanji sees this. I hope Sanji sees this contraption, and I hope it pisses him off. I hope it pisses Sanji the hell off, cause it's gonna be like this thing could potentially replace me. The cyborg says, "But I can't be too happy since a lack of competent engineers means that this bucket of boats can't be mass produced. Is following the blueprint is following the blueprints that damn hard? It really pisses me off." And then she punches the dragon thing. I thought that was a hologram though. How did she actually physically been able to punch it? I don't know. And then it says the island aircon is in the same damn boat. Its sensors can monitor living creatures, and it could tame the weather if we just had a bit more money. Oh, we talking air control, or are we talking weather control now? The island aircon is in the same boat. Damn boat. Its sensors can monitor living creatures, and it could tame the weather if we just had a bit more money. There are endless ideas, but not enough resources. And they said she punched a hologram, and then I think Chopper Bonnie saying, or no, Bonnie says she's punched a hologram, and then Luffy's still playing with the thing. Said waffles, fried shrimp. Yeah, it says, "Of course, my photonic gloves make it possible to physically interact with light." Bro, those gloves, you could physically react with light with those gloves. Kizaru incoming. Kizaru incoming. That me, oh, damn, this thing could, You could probably beat Kizaru up with this thing. I mean, I'm pretty sure Haki works as well, at least when it comes to Kizaru, because Kizaru is a devil fruit user. And Haki could kind of armament Haki could make it to where you could physically touch a devil fruit user. These gloves, I suppose, mean you could interact with Haki or light that's not even produced by uh, a devil fruit. So, like, but I assume they can work on Kizaru as well. Kizaru is immune to Haki because he's a devil fruit user, though, right? But these gloves can interact with any form of light, I suppose. Bruh. And then there's another girl. Another girl shows up and she says, "Hi. Perception shapes your sense of reality, but touching a projected object turns that on its head, doesn't it?" And then Luffy's stuffing his mouth with pizza and he says, so that girl isn't real? Okay, so that's a projection as well. That the girl that pulled up is a projection as well. So the cyborg says, debates on what makes something real are as old as time. It's something you'll have to decide for yourself, but I consider the matter settled. And Jinbei says, so just what are you? And Luffy and Jory Bonnie are stuffing their faces. And then she says, me, just your resident scientific genius for hire. She didn't say humble this time. She didn't say humble. Dr. Vegapunk. And we see it says Punk 06. So this is like the sixth model of Vegapunk, I guess. And pretty much says the same thing as the other model that we seen. And they say, what? And then this one is Wrath. Punk Atlas. It says Dr. Vegapunk Atlas. So this model's name is Atlas. And then Jory Bonnie says, what the hell? That's a lie. Or that's a total lie. And then Luffy and Chopper has their face stuffed and it says, you're Vegapunk, I've heard that name. Kobe told me about you. So they believe that's actually Vegapunk. Yeah, that's definitely not Vegapunk. That's definitely not Vegapunk. She definitely looks like a android or something. We cut to the new world. And we see a world government ship and it says, so what now? Now we see the big homie Rob Lucci and his bird. And we also see Stussy. And we also see Kaku. Hey, Kaku with the drip. He got like a Kango or like a top hat, but I think it's a Kango though. And Kaku said, just keep listening, Lucci. Vegapunk is technically still a single individual. Are they going to Egghead Island? Are we about to see Rob Lucci and Monkey D. Luffy 2? Round 2, potentially. Oh. I'm hyped. I was kind of thinking Kizaru could show up, but Rob Lucci. Luffy. Hey. But it said, let me read that again. Kaku says, just keep listening, Lucci. Vegapunk is technically still a single individual, but his genius is second only to his busyness. When there's not enough time, you say they say you're as busy as a beaver, right? Well, imagine if there were more than one beaver. That was his grand idea, to split up into 6 people. Okay, we getting into the crux of things. We get into, and it says in Japanese the idealism is about cats. It's about cats, not beavers. So we got Kaku explaining how Vegapunk functions, right? So we got Dr. Vegapunk. And we got so we got the original Vegapunk. He doesn't have a number. He doesn't have a number. But then we got Punk 01, which is Logic. Alias is Shaka. Or before I go there, let me finish. Let me finish the with the conversation. Kaku says, in other words, all 6 of these satellites are also Dr. Vegapunk. And I'm the weird one for thinking that sounds impossible, says Lucci. Geniuses are such a pain. So we got Dr. Vegapunk at the top, right? Dr. Vegapunk at the top. Then we got Punk 01, Logic, Shaka. That was the one who was talking to Lilith. So Logic is not the original Vegapunk. It's not the original one. Then we got Punk 02, Evil, Lilith, right? Or codename Lilith. That was the first one we met with 02, right? The one, we kind of questioned if it was originally Vegapunk, and we were right about. Then we got Punk 03, Flair. Woo! It's that Ric Flair right there. Codename Edison. Then we got Punk 04, Wisdom. Codename Pythagoras. Kind of like the Pythagoras theorem. I don't know. I don't really know what the Pythagoras theorem is, but I know that's a thing though. The Pythagoras theorem. I heard what it is, but at the moment I couldn't tell you what it is. I'm gonna have to research it after the fact. But there's a thing called the Pythagoras theorem. Then we got Punk 05, Wrath, Atlas. Hold on. I thought Atlas was 6. What? That don't make sense. Cause if you go up where Punk 06, right, where we see her full number, it says Punk 06, and then she was introduced as Wrath, Dr. Vegapunk, Atlas. So 6 should be Wrath, Atlas, not 5. And then it says Punk 06, Desire, codename Yoke. Okay, so we got a writer's note, and it says Atlas is 05 here in the Raw, but her dress says 06. We'll update this once Viz clarifies. Okay, so there was a little mix-up. Okay, cool. We see Akuma. Is this Akuma Seraphim? Yo, we got Akuma Seraphim. So I guess he created all the Shichibukai. I didn't think he would use Kuma's likeness again because he used them for the other Pacifista. But no, this is a Kuma Seraphim. Cause he has the Lunarian wings. Oh shoot. And Lucci says, in short, our assignment is to return this problem child back to Egghead Island. A problem child, Kuma. Why is the Kuma Seraphim a problem child? And then he says, then while taking care not to damage any of the lab's precious assets, we're to eliminate every last Vegapunk. CP0 are going to Egghead Island to not only return the problem child, but to eliminate every last Vegapunk. So we got Cypher Pool, Agent Zero, Mask Assassins, Kaku, Lucci, and Stussy. Going to eliminate every last Vegapunk. Any of the lab's precious assets. We're gonna eliminate every last Vegapunk. Then why are they returning the problem child? I don't. Wow. Wow. Lucci says, so we're meant to kill the single most useful man in the world. I wonder if this has something to do with the recent Lelugia incident. Lelugia? What's Lelugia? You know, that's not. There's no island on the map named or country on the map named Lelugia. That doesn't exist. Lelugia. So Stussy says someone with instincts like yours should know better than to question these things. And then Kaku says, agreed. Don't get us in any hot water, Lucci. And it says a calculated plan. Bruh. Bruh. Okay, so there are some notes and there's some notes at the end of this chapter that I want to read. I probably won't dip too much into the notes as far as breaking them down because I feel as though these notes look like they could be worth talking about. But I'm gonna save these for a later discussion. But I do want to read them while I'm reading this chapter. So it says each of Vegapunk's satellites are written with the characters for a specific trait, but are pronounced differently. Their origins are unclear, so these are the best guesses. So it says evil, Lilith, the name of a fictional second dark moon of Earth. Its existence was proposed in 1918 and was later disproven. Additionally, a black moon Lilith is a horoscope named for the real moons of apogee, named for a goddess associated with feminine power, hidden knowledge, wildness, and primal energy. Lilith is the one, or is the only one so far to really speak like an old timer. Then we have Wrath Atlas, a titan condemned to hold up the heavens for eternity with his mighty strength, a constellation, moon crater, and a satellite of Saturn are all named after him. Then we got Desire, Yoke, could be York. In ancient Mesopotamia, the name for the Arcturus constellation was Shudan, Yoke. Then we got Flare, creativity. Edison, noble or a notable inventor and a creator on the moon. The originality of some of these creations are disputed. And we got wisdom, knowledge, Pythagoras, a Greek mathematician and astronomer, as well as another crater on the moon. So a lot of these are like craters of the moon, you know, or associated with craters, moon craters. Logic, justice, correctness, Shaka, a Saint Seiya character. Yeah, that is that. I knew I heard that name. Shaka was, I think, which saint was it? It was like one of the golden saints from Saint Seiya. If anybody's familiar with that, one of the golden saints who, trying to think what he did, what he was the saint of. I can't remember. He said associated with the Virgo constellation. Yeah, he was Virgo. A Zulu king and the Japanese name for the original Buddha. The moon is an important symbol in Buddhism. The character used for justice logic can be read as a star. Then we have Stella, written as main true body but pronounced as Stella, which means celestial star in Latin. It is currently unclear if the stellar body is separate from the satellites, or whether it's one of them. What if it's kind of like a pain situation, right? Like a kind of like Pain from Naruto, where Nagato was, you could say, the main body or the Stella, and then you have all this other satellite pains, you know. Man, damn. Oh man. So let's let's kind of recap this chapter, right? Let's recap this chapter. We got so we start off with, the Vegapunk, but what we learned to be Lilith. Lilith holding his Sonny and pretty much threatening him. Said, "Look, I'm not here to save you. Matter of fact, y'all jump into the ocean, and I'm taking all the valuables if you guys want to continue to live. But I'm not here to save you, right?" So she was about to pretty much pick a fight with these guys, but she get a call on her earpiece, and it's like, "Hey, don't pick a fight with Straw Hats. Matter of fact, I'm interested in him. Bring him in because I'm interested in him. And plus, if you do, it's not a fight you want to. It's not a fight you want to pick, right? You see Zoro. You see the guy with the sword, Zoro. You see Nicole Robin. Yeah, they ready. They about that. They about that. So she kind of questions. She like, all right, I guess I'll leave him be. Because she thought she had the advantage. The Lilith thought she had the advantage because she had all the cyborg sea monsters around her, and it just seems like she has the advantage, which she kind of has an advantage, but she doesn't have the advantage. And so yeah, so Lilith should be bringing in the Straw Hats to Dr. Vegapunk soon. But yeah, that's one of the things we have to wait to see. And we also was introduced to Vegapunk Shaka, which is the I want to say it's the fifth Vegapunk, or it's 01. It's 01. My bad. It's 01. It's the 01 Vegapunk, right? So we was also introduced to Shaka. And so eventually we cut to Luffy. We cut to Luffy's group, Luffy, Jinbei, Chopper, and Jory Bonnie. We learned that Jory Bonnie is indeed Bartholomew Kuma's daughter, which was heavily speculated among the community, right? That Kuma was Jory Bonnie's dad. But now we got the confirmation, and hey, that's good to know, right? And Jory Bonnie is there to ask some questions, about like, hey, I guess she wants to learn how to reverse the damage done to Kuma. I don't know if that could be done though. I don't know if that could be done, but regardless, after this discussion, they make it to the top of the island, and they see all this stuff. There's like alien dinosaurs, a big robot, freaking parfait in there, but all this stuff is pretty much holograms, and it's all fake, which disappoints Luffy because they thought that parfait was real, right? And they was hungry as hell, Luffy, Jory Bonnie, and Chopper, but it was fake. But in the middle of all this, they meet another Vegapunk satellite. This one was Wrath. This was number 6 Wrath, and Luffy, meeting Wrath, thought it was a hologram and went to go punch it. But no, he found out it was actually solid, and it punched him into a machine that's able to cook stuff. That's pretty much able to make a lot of dishes out of very limited resources. And, Luffy, Jory Bonnie, and Chopper all happy because now they finally get some food. They get to satisfy the food, their hunger. And they're talking to this cyborg, which tell him is Vegapunk. Jory Bonnie already knows BS because again she admitted that she was on Egghead Island before, so she met Vegapunk, so she knows that's not Vegapunk, right? So come to find out that this Vegapunk had Vegapunk has technology that can interact with light. Like you could physically interact with light, which is dope. Which means, damn, Kizaru got another counter to his. There's some more Kizaru counter, right? Which, there's always been something in the community where it's like Sanji was to fight Kizaru, Luffy's to fight Akainu, Zoro to fight Aokiji. I don't really believe that anymore, but if that was the case, or if it still could be the case, and Sanji was to fight Kizaru, just imagine him having a raid suit and you integrate that technology in the raid suit. He would actually be able to go toe to toe with Kizaru a lot easier. Just throwing that out there. Just throwing that out there. So yeah, so we cut to the new world. We see this government, this world government ship, and it's CP0. Specifically, Rob Lucci, Stussy, and Kaku. And they're talking about Vegapunk, and Kaku is kind of explaining how Vegapunk operates, right? How he has 6 satellites that pretty much work for him while he's busy because he doesn't have a lot of resources, I guess. But that's one thing that's been emphasized in this chapter as well. Vegapunk is lacking in the resources that he would need in order to use his inventions to the full extent, to utilize his inventions, because he has a lot of ideas, but he can't fully act on them because he doesn't have the resources, right? So, that's one thing that's been stressed throughout this chapter. So Kaku is like, hey, there's six satellites of Vegapunk. And he breaks them down. There's Punk 01, which is Logic, aka Shaka. That's the one that was talking to Lilith over the earpiece. And then we have Punk 02, which is Evil, which is Lilith, right? That was the first Vegapunk that we met, that we initially assumed was Vegapunk. There's Punk 03, Flare, codename Edison. Punk 04, Wisdom, codename Pythagoras. Punk 05, Wrath, codename Atlas, which is off because when we see Atlas, she actually had Punk 06, right? And you know what I'm saying? So we might have to switch Punk Desire and Atlas, or Yoke and Atlas, because Punk 06 is Desire Yoke. So that kind of needs corrected somehow. I don't know how they're going to correct that, but it kind of confused me in reading the chapter. And so, come to find out, CP0 is headed to Egghead Island, and they're bringing Kuma, or Seraphim Kuma, which they called a problem child, right? I don't know what makes it a problem child, but it's a problem child. And while bringing back Kuma, their mission is also to eliminate Vegapunk and all his assets. Man, it's a lot. That is a lot right there, man. I don't want to talk too much because I want to start saving a lot of my thoughts on these discussions. But man, it's a great chapter. We got a few bomb drops, so I'm gonna talk about a lot of the bombs we got dropped on us. The Vegapunk from last chapter is not the original Vegapunk. We have multiple satellite Vegapunks, and the original Vegapunk is probably always busy, because they use the reference about busy beavers, creating more beavers to help with his busyness, I guess you can say, right? So we learn there's multiple Vegapunks. We also learn that Bonnie is Kuma's daughter, which now solidifies their connection and why Bonnie was so emotional in saving her father, right? But she also kind of dropped a little thing, like she didn't say it out loud, but she was like, yo, maybe I should tell him that Sabo was also at Reverie. So, that's going to make for an interesting moment when Luffy learns about Sabo's involvement at Reverie and see how much Jory Bonnie actually knows about what happened, about the whole Sabo situation. Now, I know that Jory Bonnie doesn't know about the island that we're not going to mention because it doesn't exist. Lelusia Island, but and I mentioned it anyway, right? But she don't know about that because that was after Reverie. That was pretty recent. But that's going to be interesting. That's going to be an interesting take in possibly another interesting moment that we could see. I don't know if we'll ever get it anytime soon, maybe much later, is when they kind of find out their connections through their fathers, Kuma and Dragon's connections, Jory Bonnie, Luffy's connection. That'd be interesting as well. I don't see Luffy really taking that like as much as a big deal. He hardly knows about his father anyway. And even when he does learn about it, I mean, he does know who his father is thanks to Garp, but it's not something that really interests him. It's not something he cares about. So, yeah, but that's going to be an interesting situation. I believe. You know. So, but yeah, yeah, that's. And then we also learn about this Pacifista. Kuma has a Seraphim Pacifista problem child. What makes it a problem child? Jory Bonnie's probably going to see this thing. Jory Bonnie is probably going to see this thing, and it's probably going to. It's going to be a moment right there. It's going to be a moment. It's going to be a moment. But yeah, y'all. That's what I got for the chapter right there. Stay tuned for the discussion coming later. Make sure you guys hit that like button. Also subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. Follow me on Twitch so you could catch my live streams as I do them live and you can engage with me in real time. Also follow me on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And make sure you come be a part of the community and join the Discord. All of these will be in the description box below. Anyway, y'all, it's your boy Sean P. the Bluff God, and I'm out of here. Peace.